There are millions and millions of people who suffer from tinnitus. Ringing, high-pitched sounds, buzzing, humming, crickets, and the list goes on. What I'd like to do with you today is give you some alternative things that you can do physically as well as nutritionally that can help your tinnitus. And tinnitus can come from involvement of our eustachian tubes that go behind our nasal area to the middle ear. It can come from problems in the external ear, packed earwax. It can come from problems in the inner ear, affecting the hair cells from loud noises, ototoxic substances, medications that potentially have side effects that's affecting the inner ear cells. Those inner ear cells vibrate. The sound that comes in vibrates from the external ear to the middle ear. Then that makes its way to the inner ear cells that causes electrical energy through the auditory nerve to the auditory cortex of our brain. So if those hair cells are not ideally functioning correctly, though the brain is expecting a certain type of electrical signal. And if that electrical signal is not coming through, the brain turns itself up a little bit higher, kind of like a radio that you're trying to tune in a noise or a song, and it's not getting through, so you turn it up, and that hissing or that sound you're hearing is a change that's going on between the communication from the internal ear to the brain. Now, we can forget about all that because that doesn't mean anything at this point. The issue here is, what can we do? I'm going to teach you certain ways we can stimulate points in the ear, change sound to the inner ear, as well as specific techniques that potentially can help you, as well as share with you some certain nutrients that I think can help you as well. And it's quite often that when you have sinus congestion, those eustachian tubes are clogged. And just opening our mouth like this, or yawning, okay, or when we chew gum, or if we hold our nose like this and make small little puffs like this, keeping our lips sealed like this, you may hear a little popping sound, and that opens up the eustachian tube so it can drain. And if those eustachian tubes are affected, it will affect pressure to the middle ear that can affect the transmission of sound to the inner ear that can affect tinnitus. As I said, wax being clogged up in your outer ear potentially can lead to problems, as well as infections of the eardrum, as well as inner ear problems to the inner hair cells. So the first thing that's good to do, that I love doing, as I showed you, just a little Valsalva's manure that we just kind of pinch the nose and little puffs like this. And you hear little noises in there that sometimes can drain those eustachian tubes. Even taking your thumbs underneath the maxillary bone right here, pushing it up and spreading it, you'll feel a little drainage to try to get rid of that extra sinus problem. That can be very helpful. Now, getting back to the ears, I'd like you to take your thumbs, put it inside your ears, right in here where the canal is. I want you to stick it in there and just push it in, release. Push it in, release. You hear like a popping sound. Push it in, release. And do that about 12 times. Push it in, release. Push it in, release. And after doing this, about a dozen times, you may feel an immediate change. Just the sound may be altered. And the key thing that we want to achieve is that if you feel any change, you're going to pursue on that particular technique. The next thing, I'd like you to take your second and third finger and come on the outside, put your second finger on the inside of the ear, the third finger on the outside of the ear, and you're just going to rub up against the side of the head. You're going to hear a shh, 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 shh. So second finger inside the ear, third finger outside the ear, and just rub back and forth as you're against the bone behind the ear. And I want you to do that for about 30 seconds. And obviously you're going to do both ears. Now you may notice that your tinnitus is worse in one ear than the other ear, but it's always good to do both sides because many of the times we can't tell exactly where it's coming from because the brain is picking up this sound. It's hard for us to distinguish the exact location. Is it one ear, both ears, or the other ear? So it's always good to do both sides. And there's a main area on the bottom part of the ear called sensorial. And if you take your thumb and second finger and just stimulate this whole bottom part of the earlobe. Just back and forth, stimulate it, stimulate it. You can just kind of rub it back and forth like this, and you're going to do both ears, obviously. And just you'll go back and forth. You'll do this for a good 30 seconds, 45 seconds, and stimulate this. And this is a good point to stimulate throughout the day. It's very, very effective. This has auricular ear points. It goes directly from here to the inner ear to the brain. And this is a very stimulating point for tinnitus, very safe, and very, very effective. So let's take the heel of your hand, and similar to what we did before with our thumbs or our finger sticking in the ear and letting it go, I want you to kind of cup the ear and push against the whole entire ear. And when you push in, hold it about 2 seconds, and you'll hear that pop. And the whole objective is that pressure gradient change. Hold it in, pull it out, hold it in, pull it out. And you'll feel that popping sound. And do that about 15 or 20 times, both ears. After, you're going to say, wow, that tinnitus seems to be easing up a little bit. That's another great technique that you could be doing out throughout the day. And there are times that tinnitus can be caused from the jaw area, meaning the side of the skull, called the temporomandibular joint. That when you open up your jaw like this, you'll feel an open groove. That's your TMJ area. It's quite commonly seen that the masseter muscles, that thick muscle along the sides of the face, can be contracted. And it's a good idea to take your thumbs, if you even like to use a little bit of emollient oil or lotion, you can take your thumb and you're going to want to push up against that masseter, up and down like this. You can use a couple of fingers if you want to do it this way. And you really want to dig in there pretty deep and release those masseter muscles on both sides. They're tender. And how do you know you're getting on the masseter muscles? If you clench your teeth, you're going to feel those thick muscles stick out in the sides of your facial area. Clench your teeth and push your fingers in. Clench it again. Those are the muscles. They're real big muscles. And those muscles can tug at the jaw area. And you may have noticed that when you chew, your jaw may deviate. You may have some pain in your jaw. You may notice you had some issues, maybe a tooth that's been extracted, or maybe you're wearing braces and your bite is off. That can cause involvement of the jaw. Even if you don't have pain in the jaw, it's still safe to stimulate and break down these muscles. You can do that for about a minute. That can be extremely helpful, and it may be a miracle worker for you. And another technique that's been quite effective for many people, particularly if you're a chronic tinnitus or tinnitus sufferer, is you're going to take your second finger on both hands and put it on top of your third finger. You're going to come right on the base of the skull where it meets the neck, but I want your fingers kind of like right in the back of the skull, and you're going to do this tapping mechanism. So your second finger's coming off your third finger, tapping right below it. As you're tapping, you can go back and forth, and this is a good technique to do for a couple minutes. This can stimulate the occipital region, stimulate nerves going back to the brain, back to the inner ear. You can get a lot of good neurosensory stimulation that can potentially cause changes in the inner ear or to the brain, that auditory cortex within the brain, that hopefully that can do some healing for you. And this is something that you can do a couple times a day, and hopefully it'll be very helpful for you. And the transmission of impulses through the auditory nerve from the inner ear makes its way to the auditory cortex. That's where everything starts to work within your brain. That's how you hear, that's how things happen. And it's located in the temporal area of both sides of our skull. And I found it very effective taking our second and third digits just like this and just tapping, just like this. Just tapping, tapping, tapping. Very, very effective. I call this tappment or tapping, and just stimulating this area. It's kind of like something that hasn't been moving or working, and just as you stimulate it, you get more blood, more nerve changes, more stimulation back to the brain. Obviously, this is covering over the auditory cortex. This is a really, really effective technique, and you probably won't see anyone doing this, but believe it or not, just the location of where it's located and what's involved inside of it can be tremendously a big asset in helping to reduce or even limit that tinnitus that you're having. So just stimulating it. You don't have to go too hard, just topopment. You'll hear like ba 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 ba. And when you get done, you'll feel that what we call hyperemia. Hyperemia is this increased blood circulation. Whenever something's not functioning or working, it doesn't matter if it's just the brain or a joint, by just stimulating the joint, by just stimulating the area to increase function, you're going to increase healing. And that's our goal. So here's what's important. Inside the inner ear cells, when there are toxins or damage done to that area, there's excessive glutamate. And in the brain, there's excessive glutamate when we're stimulated. When we have this sympathetic response, when our cortisol and our adrenaline is being secreted, when we're all stressed out, when we're anxious, when we can't relax, when we're not getting enough sleep, too much glutamate. We have to offset the glutamate. How do we do that? GABA, gamma aminobutyric acid, has been known to offset glutamate, as well as L-theanine and taurine. And taurine is an amino acid that can offset glutamate in the brain, working like GABA. Now, other things you can take to supplement. Zinc has been very effective because zinc is known to inhibit glutamate. Omega-3s are extremely important that everyone should have, particularly with tinnitus. Vitamin C, ginger, coenzyme Q10, valerian, vitamin B6, vitamin B12, as well as magnesium. And there are other great herbs like chamomile tea, decaf green tea, valerian root tea, lavender tea, lemon balm, passion flower, ashwagandha are all helpful to wind down your central nervous system. And if there's one thing you should keep away from is MSG, because that has glutamate in it. And if you're eating poorly, lots of sugars, real bad saturated fats, you're not eating healthy, you're stressed out, you're not exercising, you're not getting enough sleep, all of those things will attribute to tinnitus to make it much worse. So I know a lot was said. I hope you can take many of these things and use it accordingly to help you, your loved ones, your friends. This is very simple, very easy to use information, and I really hope that will make big changes for you and your loved ones. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave your comments below, and most important, make it a great day. I'm Dr. Alan Mandel.
Halo guys, kembali lagi di channel kami Calon Suhu. Sebelum lanjut videonya, jangan lupa like, komen, dan subscribe ya guys. Tetap stay tune di channel kami. Dadah!
No.
Lah engkau denganku. Hingalkanlah.
Bye.